Something in my soul ain't right. I can't sleep at night, wondering when the change gon' come. Feeling that I'm not the only one. Hi guys, the reason why that song has inspired me is because I feel when something in your soul isn't right, you know, it has a big impact on your life going forward. And, you know, sometimes you can't sleep at night because you're thinking, when is change going to happen? Is this life? You know, life, there's got to be more to life than this. And I just wanted to discuss some of the reasons why people migrate. You know, for me, it was, obviously, I felt like something wasn't right, that I was working in the social care industry and I was working with young people and I was, you know, talking to them every single day about what they should do to kind of, you know, push their lives forward, and that they're young and they should push forward and go for it and make the most out of their life. And I just felt like I was saying that every single day to other people, but I wasn't doing it. So what are some of the reasons why people migrate? People migrate because, number one, is financial reasons. They might get a job where they feel that the money that they get from that job is, it doesn't even have to be higher. Sometimes the cost of living in another country is lower, so you could be getting even less than you were getting before or more than you were getting before, and you know that your standard of life will be much better. So people migrate for financial security for the future, one reason. Number two is for a higher standard of living. I think a lot of people migrate because sometimes the stresses in maybe London or the US are quite high, so they, you know, migrate to somewhere else where maybe their stress levels will be declined. And in terms of even, you know, fresh fruit and open space and all that type of stuff, I think people are kind of leaning towards more of that than living in the inner city of a developed country. So people are migrating for a better standard of living. You know, even the houses, some of the houses are much bigger than the ones here, and how much you pay for these houses, you could pay much less for a bigger house in another country. So better standard of living is number two. Number three is education. People tend to migrate because they feel like their children can get a better education in another country. For example, paying for private school in the UK or the US, it can cost quite a lot. But, you know, you could pay less in another country for a really good standard of education. So people tend to move. If they haven't had that type of education, or they have had that type of education, they want their children to have it as well, or they want to be able to give that to their children so their children get a better education than they did. So number three is education. Number four is political reasons. People migrate for political reasons to do with government issues, or to gain citizenship in another country, or maybe there's war in their country, so they have to migrate to another country. So number four is political reasons. Number five is the need for change. People tend to move when they feel like they need to change, like they might visit a country and realise that actually I really love this country, I love the people, and for whatever reason they feel more accepted in that country than they do perhaps in their own country. So it's at that point that they decide that they're actually going to pack up and move to that country because they feel that that is where their heart is. Number six is for a soulmate. With various social media sites up, people are meeting people all over the world. So someone might meet someone online and decide to move to be closer to that person. So people tend to move because they found a soulmate, or they, you know, a best friend or a potential partner. So they decide to move to be closer to that person. Number seven is criminal activity. Sometimes people migrate because they've maybe got into trouble with the law in one country and they need to migrate to another country so they can set up a new life for themselves. Number eight is to be closer to family. a lot of people tend to move when a member of the family has moved abroad and things are going well for that person. So they decide that actually they want to move to be closer to a relative. So that's another reason. Number 9 is to expand a current business or to start a business that you know would work well in another country. So people tend to move because they have a business in the country that they live in, and they know that that business would work in another country. So they move to that country to actually start a business and start a life for themselves. Or you have a business idea and you've done your market research and you think this business idea, it would work there. So you decide, I'm going to pack up and I'm going to go and put all my efforts into starting that business in the other country. Number 10 is old age. A lot of older people that weren't born in the country that they're currently living in tend to want to go back home once they get older for, you know, a slower pace and to relax a bit more. So once people get to a certain age, they tend to start thinking about moving back to, you know, their native home. Number 11, the final number is, because you're just fed up. You're just fed up of living in your current situation, in your current country, and you've just decided you are going to go and live somewhere else and start a whole new life for yourself, meet new people, and start afresh. So that's all the reasons why people migrate. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.